Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
Well, he's here again. He's really here again. Unfortunately, he's not in the studio. He's in his own studio out in the great Northwest. We're going to be talking with Stephen Lewis, who is co-founder of Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness. And we know him as actually the founder of the AIM program. And it's a wonderful program. I'm always so happy that I'm a part of it. But I really want to really get into this with Stephen, because for those of you who listened to the last show when Stephen was on, we were waiting for some major explosion in 2015, and the news has certainly exploded.
I'm sorry?
It's your cue now.
The news has exploded?
Yeah.
I thought there was a comma there, not a period. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I am, as often is the case, guilty of bad punctuation.
Okay.
Well, no, the news, it's kind of weird to say it's exploded, because I sit and look at the news and look at what's happening day by day by day, and it's there. It's not that something happened. It's just that it's less under the radar than it was. And that is the reality. It's a little more easily seen. It's going to become a lot more readily seen very shortly. This is the beginning of the perception of it. It's not the beginning of it. The beginning of it was back around, 1998. And I saw it happening then. I went, but I had no idea how to look at time, because there was no books on it. And time, 1998 until now, is an eternity in one perspective, and it's like the blink of an eye in another. So, but anyway, that doesn't matter. It is now, and that's the case. And we have entered, above all, the age of we must perceive that we are our own responsibility. That means we must perceive that we are able to create our well-being or our ill-being. We must perceive that we can heal ourselves, and that for most of us, if we don't heal ourselves, we will not be healed. These are situations that, to a great extent, defy treatment. There's nothing that can't be healed, but there's a great deal that can't be treated effectively.
So, now that we hear you say that, can you pinpoint some way that we can change that at this point?
Well, first of all, there's almost no such thing as a we. You can do it, and you can do it, and you can do it, and I can do it. And the question is, will we do it? Now, healing is as old as humanity. Older, no doubt. Animals before humans have done it. But healing is not a new phenomenon. It will always be with us. But it's a one-on-one thing. You heal yourself or you don't. And the we is that part of what we have to bring to bear on this issue is our connection with everything in the universe. And the more we perceive our connection, which is to say, the more conscious we are, the more readily we can heal whatever we need to heal, whatever it is. That's why I've told you for a long time, when you asked me about meditation, I said, yeah, I meditate every day. And not a long time, and I don't do it with the classic way of sitting and saying some words in a foreign language that I can't speak. Like Hindu or something. I don't know, Guru Dev Namo. I don't do that. I sit and focus lie down and focus on my connection to everything in the universe and how I am connected to it and how I must feel that connection. It doesn't take very long before I'm there, just part of everything. And perhaps in 20 minutes or 30 at the most, I feel it and I get up and I'm recharged. And that is how I meditate. I will not tell you it's the way to meditate. It's the way that's effective for me. Because for me, to sit and mutter a chant over and over again in some foreign language is like, I feel like an idiot. I don't know. What I'm saying could be somebody's laundry list. How the hell do I know?
Well, it's funny you should say that, but I get my best ideas when I'm sleeping. And I guess it's my subconscious that's working. I just wake up and...
Yeah, I mean, when you say subconscious, whatever sub means, everything is consciousness.
Okay, right.
And it's there whether you're sleeping or not, you know? And that's part of why in the Hindu religion, they make no distinction between being asleep and being awake. They see it all as just simply reality. Interesting, huh?
Yes, and so someone said something about children and how they are so smart and creative, and by the time they get to school and the adults get to them, a lot of that leaves. What can we do about that?
We must begin to educate our children into a life that has some contact with reality. Not just the reality of you got to make money. And that's a good thing. Everybody likes money. I'm not an idiot. You know, I mean, I like buying nice things with it. But there is a reality that's beyond that. It's deeper than that. It begins by teaching your children about that. If you speak about the flow of energy in the universe, in your body, and how they're one and the same, if you speak about that to most children, look at you like, what are you talking about? But on the other hand, if you take a selected context where the kids are brought up as that's part of their culture, they don't look at you as if it's weird or anything. We must understand above all, we must understand life is a spiritual process. We must live it as such. That does not mean we must go around begging with little bowls. It means we must incorporate that into our lives. And it's a matter of survival. It doesn't mean that that you can't go out and earn a living or make money or whatever it is. They are not diametrically opposed. But we must incorporate that spirituality into our lives. Now, I came to all this through a world that was initially devoid of spirituality. But little by little, I began to understand why David Bohm was so close to Ramakrishna, and why Einstein was so close to his spiritual guides, and on and on. It is one world, and we are part of it and part of each other. We must come to terms with that. And yeah, you begin learning it when you're a kid, because by the time you're an adult, it's really hard to learn anything, because you're fixed. You know, all that mud becomes concrete. And it's really hard to shape concrete. So yes, that's the case. For me, you know, I'm kind of a miracle to me, because I started off with concrete, and laboriously, bit by bit, have shaped myself. And then often I've been a little bitter. Why wasn't I shaped when I was mud? When it's so easy. And it would have needed a hammer at my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have been easy. Now I keep getting hit in the head by this hammer. Oh, well. But you hit it on the head. It must begin with kids. It's our way of life. And it's true for the entire globe. This globe is fundamentally full of people who are somewhat nuts. And if you don't believe me, pick up a paper and look at it. Turn on the news on television. People are demented. And as long as it doesn't bother me, it is what it is. But in its way, it does, because I am part of you, and I'm part of everyone. And this is coming to pass in a way that is manifest. It's not that, your chant's going to become a little out of tune. No. I mean, this is what causes whatever happens, whether it's fundamentally, whether it's cancer or this or that or that. It's all part of life, and it is connected, and it all can be, if it's negative, it can be healed. But we must come to terms with it and understand that is the case indeed, that it can be healed. And then we can do it. So there's the end of my rant. What do you have to say?
No, Red, I've been listening to your ranting. Well, I guess I'm very, very caught up with, and I shouldn't be, with the political environment. And I shake my head a lot because I say, well, and I say to my husband, is this new? Is this something that's never happened? He said, no. Bill's going to be 92 tomorrow. So he has a very long scope, and he can see things. He said, "Oh, it was terrible, Doctor, when President Roosevelt was trying to get a lot of things passed, and when LBJ. I mean, he goes back and because for us, at least for me, I don't remember a lot of that, and." So even though we're struggling and suffering, and I always blame it on the internet. If we didn't have the internet, maybe it wouldn't be so bad because everybody knows everything and everything about everybody. So maybe it's just that if you take the long look, it's not any different. What do you think?
Not any different than what? I mean, you think it hasn't changed?
Yeah.
I think I told you this before. I think the problem is we have gone way out of balance. We have become scientifically, technologically, incredibly adroit and advanced. But our spirituality has not advanced at all. And fundamentally, no one can afford to worship technology because, as I've said again, technology is simply a cannibal. And if you're going to sit and have dinner with a cannibal, you damn well better read the menu first.
And see if you're on it, right?
Dinner.
It's very funny. Yes. That's true.
Well, I'm serious.
I know you are.
Everyone says it's funny, but I'm so serious.
I know.
We must understand that technology must serve spirituality. There's nothing wrong with technology. There's something wrong with technology not being in the service of spirituality, because no matter what we achieve technologically, our life will be dictated by our spirituality. And that is, and I'm not advocating a given religion or any given religion or even religion. I know people who don't have any mention of God in their lives who I see as very, very spiritual. I know many others who wouldn't dream of missing church ever, and I see them as totally devoid of any spirituality.
I attest to that.
Spirituality is an inclusive phenomenon, and religion can often is exclusive. It's all good, but if you're not a Catholic, you ain't going to heaven. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I know.
And on and on and on.
I know.
We're the chosen people. Yeah, who chose you?
Yes.
And on and on and on.
I know.
And it's a question of spirituality is recognizing that we are connected, that we're in this together, and incorporating that in our lives. You can still make money, you can do all you want, but you must recognize our life has a spiritual core. That's where it begins. Yes, we're out of balance, but that's what we've chosen, and that's what we've tended to worship. And I think, as they say, the chickens are coming home to roost right now.
Yes. I saw I don't remember his name, let's see, Salgado, I think his last name, a photographer, very famous, and he does black and white photography, and he showed pictures of what's happening to the Arctic. And I mean, I don't know how people can still say that we're not being affected by global warming. I don't understand it when they see. In fact, I just heard, was it next year, next 5 years, people in the Middle East, it will be so hot that during the summer they will not be able to live there.
I understand completely. I mean, I moved to and I live fundamentally in a rainforest. And it's kind of interesting because it's rain in a different sense, I mean, my wife was worried about what's her hair going to look like when we moved, okay? Well, no, it's real. I mean, it's real. It's part of her life. It's fine.
Don't put it back in a ponytail.
As anyone knows it. It's like, it's a rainforest, but you never get wet. There's often this kind of mist. And if you look, the ground is kind of wet. But if you're standing outside in it, you're not. And so I guess if you stand out there all day, you will be. If you're a stop sign, you'll get wet. But I mean, it's not like what rain was. Well, you're in Miami. Well, you're not Miami. You're in Florida, I mean. And you have rainstorms where the rain is like wham.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I've had that when I came to Philadelphia and when I moved to London. Forget about it. But it's not rain here in that sense. It's just this mist. But yes, there is a global warming, but so we can deal with that. We can deal with any of these things. But we cannot deal with the dirt of spirituality in our lives. And it will manifest in ways that are obvious, and we won't consider them spiritual problems. But they really are. And that's the subtlety of it. They are manifestations of our spiritual problem. But they will be seen in an unspiritual sense.
If you've just tuned in...
By most.
Wait. I have to tell people who you are because they're hearing this and they said, well, who is this person? Where is he? What is he doing? So I have to tell you, his name is Stephen Lewis. He's co-founder of the Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness, EMC². And the way you would get on his website so you can learn a lot would be go to aimprogram.com. AIM program. It stands for All-Inclusive Method Program of Energetic Balancing. And I've been a member of this organization for quite a few years. And I must say I want so many people to join because I know how beneficial it is. But if you listen to the show and maybe you don't understand everything you're hearing, the way to learn more is go to the website. You'll see a lot of radio that Stephen does. You'll be able to listen to those shows. He speaks with some of the most important people in the world, and you will hear that. And we're so privileged to have him on once a month. He also has a book, and that's how I first met him. It's absolutely a wonderful book. And it's called Sanctuary, The Path to Consciousness. And you also can get the audio CD. So I'm very thrilled that you will take the time to do this and try to share information that people are never going to hear anywhere else. That's what makes the show so great. This is very unusual talk from someone is really a genius in what he does. And for those of you who are listening, it's really a privilege. And I'm so glad that Stephen takes the time. So, Stephen, with that, let's just keep going on what can people do?
I can keep going. It's shutting me up. It's hard. Go ahead.
You remember, this is an audience of the older adults, so they're probably saying, well, what can we do? What can we do?
All right, well, folks, get out your ear horns and listen. Okay, go ahead, Anita.
So they're wondering, all right, well, we're older now. Is it over for us, or what benefit can we provide? What can we do?
How old are you? I think that it's very possible that your husband, Bill, has many, many productive years ahead of him.
Oh, I believe he does.
He's 92.
And he's working on a lot of things.
And for me to begin I'll try until you say we're out of time, Steve.
Okay.
Very simply, when I saw what was happening, I saw there was an immune deficiency in the U.S. and in the world, the Western technological world, okay, where like the U.S. is obviously part of it, but so is, urban Australia, okay? Now, when I saw that, I realized, it took a while, but I realized what was happening. We bring the seed of our own destruction with us. We can call it karmic, or we can call it hereditary. Hereditary is the accepted term. But the thing about that is, it's just something else we need to heal. You can heal hereditary imbalances, so they're gone. And when they're gone, they're gone. You can't pass them on if you have a kid. That's the incredible thing about it. People go on the AIM program when they're kids. It's all gone before they even know what's going on. They're clean. So anyway, an immune deficiency makes everything hereditary become active early, quickly, right away, as opposed to when you're old. So I posed the question, well, if you have nothing to become active and that's what kills you, so what's going to kill us if we have no remaining hereditary diseases? There are weaknesses. Some things can. Suppose you have a weakness in your heart and it wears out and it bursts. That can happen. Things can happen, but nothing active, ongoing. In other words, what if you don't have the frequency of hereditary cancer? Does that mean that you cannot or will not get cancer? Well, that's my postulate. And the same is true for diabetes and whatever you can think of. And what's going to happen? Well, hang in there, folks. Join us watching to see what happens. Because I can't read about it. There's nowhere, it's not printed anywhere. This is new stuff, and I'm watching to see what happens. And I'm getting closer and closer, and guys like Bill are even closer. I'm pushing 80. Bill's in his 90s.
And I'm
whatever.
So
I don't see I don't see any limitation. It's that simple. The people I know who are on the AIM program, they're going out and they're hiking 5 miles, and and they're very happy. And because what is their weakness? Again, it's the last straw concept. And the last straw is, that's the last straw. Well, picture a camel with 1,000,000 straws in his back, and someone adds one more, and the poor animal falls over and dies from, the load that he can no longer carry. Well, if you say that this This is a worthless camel. He put one straw in his back and he fell over and died. If someone said that to you, you say, are you out of your mind? You had 1 million straws on his back. Well, what if the straws are karma or hereditary imbalances? They're all gone. If you then put a straw on the camel's back, so what? Interesting concept, I think. And that's what I work with. That's what we work with. And that is why I consider our work to be a spiritual technology. I think it truly is. I know it truly is. There.
Well,
End of rant number 2.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we have a lot of time, but I would like to know what's happening with the autistic children.
Autistic children?
Yep.
Well, for the most part, autism seems to be something that can be healed. Autism is a syndrome, which means there's no one thing causing it. And that's why when someone is diagnosed autistic, there's a spectrum of things. Let's say they have 15 different things, whatever the right number is. And if he has this, they check it. Okay, he's got that. And a lack of affect, check it. And, so at one point, it becomes the teeter-totter shifts. They say, okay, he or she is autistic. If one by one these things, and some of them are acquired, environmental, and some are hereditary. But if one by one the problems are healed, the teeter-totter, the seesaw, goes back. And at that point, the frequency of autism is gone. Now, we have a scholarship program on the AIM program for anybody who we find to be autistic. If they resonate with being positive, we don't know people, they send in their pictures.
I know.
And if they show that they're autistic, in the AIM program, it's free. Because you got to give things back.
And I have to thank you. We have run out of time, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about that, and maybe we'll continue with that and Down syndrome next time we talk, because I know that that was very important to you, and so we want to get that out. Anyway, thank you very, very much again, and maybe by next month something spectacularly good will happen, and then we'll talk.
Well, I think we can add cystic fibrosis to that, but
okay.
We'll hold that till next month.
Next time,
and
right?
I will be holding my breath until next month.
Please do that.
Not literally.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen, so much.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye, Anita.